So Alex, I believe, annually does an dark retreat. Am I correct on that? Is it about annual? You do it at least once a year, a dark retreat.
Um, happens.
Oh,
It's no
whenever
big
you
point
called for it,
to.
you do it,
I
type of
was
thing.
doing every year a Vipassana over the last 10 years, I think. And
Okay.
Dark Retreat, I haven't done over the last 2 years. And so the last one was actually in December for the 16 days.
Yeah, I watched the entire documentary yesterday when Alex sent it to me. Like, it was, man, it was very interesting because I've never actually seen Alex in tears. I saw Alex in tears at the end, looking at the sun. What, like, how bright was the sun for you after being in darkness for 60 over 2 weeks, 16 days? Like what did it hurt your eyes and stuff? And like,
Yeah,
what was going through? Like,
it was
why did
painful.
you why did you cry? Like, what made you cry?
I have no idea. I have no idea actually, because this
Really?
was my seventh dark retreat and I never cried afterwards when I came out. And so ordinary insight, sometimes you have some processes, but I was like, I am crying. And I was crying 20 minutes, keep going. It was something I was so touched deeply. There was no picture, no fixed emotion, it was just wow. I was crying, 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 and so yeah, Sarah told me just open the eyes now because the sun is going away and look, and so I just put the blindfold away and put already sunglasses there, and was still like very bright, and then slowly I opened, and yeah, and then I couldn't stop crying for 20 minutes. It was like I was quite drained afterwards, I have to say.
You're not the kind of person that cries a lot in general. Or am I correct on that? Or
I'm not so emotional, let's say it like that, but for me, like when things are coming, it's very important to let things out. So I've done
uh,
family constellation work where I healed some stuff with my father and I started crying. So I have no problem with crying, to say it like that. I'm always happy if something is coming up so it can be released. But ordinary, it's not happening quite often. I can feel touched when I hear a powerful singer or when I connect to the emotion because I'm so empathic and psychic, so I can pick up immediately when I watch something, but I'm not like a crybaby or something. I was
gotcha.
emotional, but this was really like I was very surprised. I was like, what the fuck?
Wow. Alex, I also want to ask you. So when you came out, you were the dog. Is that your dog, by the way? You know
Ah,
how you're. You
it's
know. You
Sarah's
know. You
dog.
know how a dog jumped on you and, like, you were
Yeah,
petting it,
yeah, it's Sarah's
but you
dog.
still had
So
but oh, Sarah's dog. So you had
blindfold.
you had the mask on still. Like, so after being in this for so long, were you able to actually see the dog and, like, stuff like that, or?
Mm, it's a different technique to look through blindfold and being in total darkness. It also depends what kind of layer you see. It's like you see some certain movement. It looks like a white shadow even when you're in fully darkness. And but at that time when I came out, yeah, you see the energy differently, but I didn't saw it now clearly. Oh, this is the I could feel and sense her for of course, but it's a different work when you just train the third eye to open. Then you got a little hole, then it becomes wider, and then you see like a monitor. But I haven't trained this then for a long time. For me, this dark retreat was totally different as my intention was different. I didn't want it to do like always. It's okay, dark retreat. What do you have to offer? I want to experience totally new dark retreat. I don't have any fixed point of view. I invite now all the teachers and masters to give me a totally different point of view of what I know. And I always stayed in this playful mode and trained every day many hours just to see, oh, what else is possible right now. I constantly stay at the question. Oh, mind, what do you have for me? Oh, is there something? Otherwise, I just sit and observe. So I think next time will be again totally different.
So when you did it for 16 days, this is the longest you've done it, right? Am I
Yeah,
correct?
yeah. I
And
wanted
typically
to
you do
do
it
it
for about a
actually
week or
longer,
so.
but Sarah got in strong processes actually. So
Oh yeah.
I,
Now
I
now
wanted
now
to
uh,
I wanted
now
to stay
are
over
you
3 weeks, but because we had to plan some stuff for January, and then I said, okay, I'll come out earlier because it was hard for her actually.
Oh, okay. So it was shorter than expected, basically.
Mm.
What like you're saying like, man, I'm doing followed off, I was doing the five elements and things like that. I watched the whole video and stuff like that. So like what do you do majority of the time? Like, majority of the time, are you exercising? Are you like in your head meditating? Or like what did you spend most of the time doing while you're in darkness?
Well, it depends again what is your intention, because there's so many different methods. There are like the Tibetan methods where they just like focus on the chakra and meditating on the chakra for 49 days. There there are rainbow body exercises for 100 days. There are from Mantak Chia where they connect to the stars. And there are so many different things. And I think the easiest thing is just to do nothing and explore what your mind will tell you. And because in the first days, it's more about the body starts to adjust to the darkness and gets weak or gets tired. And so it's, for me, all the time exploring consciousness. And for most people, I wouldn't suggest they do it alone. They always should go to someone who support them. For me, I've done my 7 dark retreats always alone. I just had someone who brought me some soup or avocado, and that's it. But I think for normal people, it would be good to have someone who guides them also emotional wise through all this stuff, because many things can come up. And one of my friends, he also did like 2 weeks, and he's nearly over 60 years old, and he's also like a spiritual, doing a lot of stuff since over 40 years, you can imagine. But he said to the woman in Germany, maybe you don't need, because he's also used to work, but then some inner child process started happening and he was crying a lot. And so it can be very helpful for people then when you have someone to guide you through certain stuff. And for me, I did a lot of standing actually. I was standing sometimes between 1, 2.5 hours, just standing positions. And then again, sitting and doing some Kunlun exercises to bring up some energy. And I just was constantly in the question, what else should I do now? Or how would the master stand in this position? How would a master meditate and connect to the field directly over the quantum field? And so for Sarah was kind of crazy, because sometimes when she was busy and her daily life, opened the door and came in, it was a boom, she got like an energy wave and falling backwards because it was
Really?
yeah.
Wait. So can you talk to me about that a little bit? So your energy probably became so strong that she could like feel it, like, whoa, like this is super strong kind of deal.
Mm. Because the thing is, when you create a sacred place, it's like if you go to a temple and then you can feel this density, and now you have a little room what got even maybe like just like 15 square meters or even less, and then you have this condensed feeling. You constantly condense more and more energy. And then I told her, hey, look, before you enter the room, you have to go into your heart, you have to silence yourself, otherwise you will get slapped from the energy very strongly. And that was quite interesting for her also to experience. And yeah, maybe she can give later a little feedback about it.
Yeah, definitely. Um, Alex, so like correct me if I'm wrong, but so like you know how Sarah came in and asked you once a day or something like that, you know, about what's going on in your mind and things like that. So when you were talking about things like what was that a dream you had, or was that like what you were speaking every single day? Were they where was it coming from? What was it, just coming from your mind, or was it coming from a dream, or was it a little bit
I
of both?
think it was mostly about the dreams what I shared. So I said, oh, this is now for me, because every dream is like digesting some stuff. So I don't say, oh, this is because of this person. No, no. So for me, I always go, what is the emotion behind the dream? And actually, when you go deeper, when everything clears up, then you don't have so much dreams anymore. Sometimes you just rest in emptiness. So it always depends. That's why the yogi and the Tibetan, they always want to be aware all the time. So even when they're sleeping, they want to be aware, because they say, oh, I don't want to waste so much time. So that's why you have deeper meditation. And it's so funny because when we have been in Cyprus and we did a biofeedback healing, and I was resting at the chair, and Sarah was talking to the woman for the biofeedback machine, and she didn't understand the English word. And even when I was there sitting, a little bit snoring, she said, Alex, and I just translated it to her. I said, how is this possible? You were sleeping. I said, yeah, doesn't matter. Even my body is sleeping, but I'm still like in awareness. So I can snore. I can be like the body is that, but I still have this hearing and awareness. It was kind of funny the last time.
Interesting. Yeah, yeah. What can you just share one more thing about Darkretreat? Like what was like the most like intense? Because you told me once, this is like a long time ago when we just had a private conversation. You mentioned that when you do Darkretreat, you can even see your soul body. And like the 16-day retreat you did, were you able to see your soul body, or like, or is there any like visions that you saw that you can share, like because doesn't your visions like really intensify and stuff?
That what mostly happens is after 2 3 days,
Uh-huh.
you see a light, and for me it's like getting like a lamp directly into your front head. And for me it was when I did my, I don't know, maybe second, third dark retreat. It was so strong that I couldn't sleep anymore, because it's like having constantly a big light in your face.
Wow.
It's like looking directly into the sun the whole time, and it was like, fuck.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was like, damn, I want to sleep, I want to rest, but the light is here. And for me, I'm a person, I only rest well when it's totally dark. Even in the room, I love to be in total darkness, otherwise I don't sleep well. And now you have a light constantly in your face, yeah.
Wow. So that's so crazy. So even though you're actually in darkness, after 2 3 days, it's like you have nothing but light. You see nothing but light. That's
Mhm.
so interesting. No, Alex, like was this like this like since just like did this same phenomena occur the first time you did it, the first time you did the
It
dark retreat?
always occurs, but it's different in the intensity.
Like so like the more, so obviously you've done 7 dark retreats and things like that, like have you sort of got used to the dark retreat, you think, in a way? Have you got adjusted to it? Like are you at this point kind of like, yeah, like I'm totally comfortable, or I'm getting more, a little more comfortable, like are you like what would you say?
um, huh. It's for me, it's love to go into darkness. It's weird, like, oh, darkness. It's like, for me, it's like really being in love. But at the same time, of course, it's quite challenging. And because the emotions, what are coming up, are so strong. So on one day, you feel I'm super powerful and you don't need to sleep. And many times I didn't have the urge to sleep at all. And then you just train, keep on training, and you don't sleep. But of course, you always create an effect with this stuff. So then maybe you're too tired, 2 days very weak. And then again, feel like, oh, I don't know what to do. And then you have to stay with the weakness. So it brings up all kind of stuff. And that's why it's important to set the goal first to say, oh, I will stay 3 weeks. It doesn't matter what. Because it can happen that you have such a strong process just after 1 week that you say, oh, I go out now. And that's why your intention should be strong, that you build up already this intention and reality. Oh, I will do this. It doesn't matter what. So I still feel I will do it. Maybe even end of the year for a much longer amount. Maybe in Nepal. I got in contact with Pater Tiso Francis, who researched all about the rainbow body, and got in contact with him. And yeah, maybe I stay for some months. Let's see what will happen. We'll see what life will tell me what I have to do.
Yeah, yeah. Alex, so you mentioned the rainbow body.
Mhm.
Like, so for a lot of Tibetan people, is training in the dark, if you will, maybe you don't call it training, but just immersing yourself in the dark, if you will, is that part of the rainbow body activation process? I'm not too familiar with it, so.
I don't think that it's just about the darkness, because it's the whole Böll culture. It's all about different rites, about singing, about mantra, about a lot of different things. This is just, I think, one part that you are totally alone in your own field, just being focused of doing one thing. And this can help a lot, especially when you do cave retreats and things like this.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you so much for telling me about the Darkretreat. That was so wonderful. I'll cut